I've made probably every home gym mistake there is, and I'm willing to bet if you've been doing this for as long as me, you probably have too. So today we're covering the 10 biggest mistakes we all make when building out our spaces in hopes it helps you. So let's get into it. The first mistake we all make is not planning things out. So measure and account for everything because this stuff's heavy. Believe me, you don't want to be the guy who rents a pallet jack to move your massive rack because you decided it would work better in a different spot. Also remember, your equipment goes up, so keep that in mind if you don't want to have to disassemble the top half of your rack to fit it under a beam you happen to forget about. I also recently swapped the pull-up bar and top cross member on my Rogue rack so I could put a basketball hoop on the front of it because, why wouldn't you? Except I forgot about the garage door tracks and echo panels on my ceiling. It's okay though, I played it off by telling my wife I swapped them around so she could finally reach the pull-up bar. So spend some time planning. Don't forget the outlets, or maybe do, that way you can skip the cardio. Leave yourself some open floor space, and before you drink the Kool-Aid and end up $12,000 into your $1,500 build, don't neglect the HVAC. Believe me, you don't want to spend a bunch of money just to have everything rust. So look into getting yourself a dehumidifier. A fan can help keep things comfortable in the summer heat, or even a mini split. Last part on this one, remember the entire space revolves around you. So pick equipment that you'll actually need and use. Then you'll need places to store all this stuff. And we tend to forget about that until we're tripping on the things that start collecting on the floor. That's why I love my 3x3 racks. Are they overbuilt? Sure, but there's a million ways to store things on them. And bonus points for good storage solutions because the more you can keep off the floor, the more stuff you can get before your wife notices. When it comes to storing things, there's no one size fits all solution, but I'd advocate for modular options over permanent. What I mean by that is your space is always evolving and your wants and needs will too. So something like Wall Control's metal pegboard, where you can rearrange and swap out the different styles of hooks based on what you're trying to hang up, is infinitely more flexible than permanently anchoring a hook into your wall, although that can be a great way to hang unique things. You'll also want to look out for companies that have the foresight to plan out storage for their equipment. PRX being maybe the pinnacle there with their rack that folds onto a wall, and literally every accessory they make has a wall storage option. Prime is another example of a company who realized, this is kind of awkward. We should give people a way to store it. I'm looking at you, Rogue, with the multi-use seat on the CTM1. And don't get me going about Freak Athlete's Hyper Pro, or whatever they're calling the 11th version of that thing. Cool, it does a million things. Where do I put all the crap? Good storage solutions are not only elegant and aesthetic, but an organized space is also more efficient and easier to work out in. I know, it can be overwhelming. Luckily, I know a guy with absolutely no shame that'll promote his own content. So check out our storage items and hacks video after you're done with this one. Another thing we tend to do is rush things. Building your gym, like lifting, is a marathon, not a sprint. So take your time. You don't need to buy everything at once. All you need is just enough. Start simple, think long term, and build it out over time. Home gyms can get really expensive, but the upfront cost doesn't need to be. Now, I'm not saying put your life on the line by picking the cheapest rack you can find that's got more flaws than your favorite YouTuber, but planning ahead and buying right the first time, even if it does cost you more now, will save you money down the road because you're not buying the same thing twice. If you buy right the first time, you'll use it for a lifetime. Hell, my kids will be fighting over some of this stuff when I'm gone. A good example of a forever purchase being maybe you do pay a little bit more for a power rack that you can add on to as you go. Then When you get the money, you add cables onto it or put a Smith machine on there. We are living in the golden age of home gyms. The possibilities are almost endless as long as you take your time and make logical purchases. Bringing us to mistake 4 or 7. Do you count down or up? I don't know. Maybe I'm only good at counting in 45-pound plate increments. The first thing you need to do in your gym is put the flooring down. It sounds obvious because your equipment goes on top of it, but flooring isn't sexy, and since it's not going to help you look sexier, we tend to forget about it. Good flooring gives you a solid foundation to work out on, and you and your equipment won't slip around on it like with foam tiles. It's quieter and more comfortable than concrete. Then again, so is literally everything, but it'll protect your floors as well as your equipment. So what should you get? There are, after all, a ton of flooring options out there. I should know I collected an insane amount of samples from dozens of companies for our home gym flooring guide. You see how smooth that self-promotion was? For most people though, horse stall mats are the cheapest solid option. Sure, they can stink, and it can sometimes be hard to find ones that match up perfectly, but if you check them out in person before buying them and get them all at once, you'll be fine. They're basically indestructible. I mean, if horses can piss and shit on them day in and day out, they ought to survive your lifts. They're also easy to install, just a dozen or so back-breaking trips with a 100-pound chalupa, and then you throw some Gorilla Tape on the seams and you'll have your very own starter YouTube home gym studio. But how do you know what to put in there? Well, the next mistake is not trying before you buy. And this one's kind of a two-parter. Is parter a word? I'm not sure, but I do know a really good place you can go to figure out what you'll need for a home gym, a commercial gym. Now, I'm not suggesting you go fall in love with a $16,000 Stairmaster. That's ridiculous when you can get one for less than half that using my affiliate link. Jokes aside, it's hard to know what you'll want and need in your space. Are you big into cable work? Is that leg extension, leg curl really calling to you? Maybe dumbbells are the end all be all. And part 2 of this is seeing if you'll work out consistently before you spend a bunch of money on your home gym, because they're not for everyone. Listen, this is my job. Every week I buy and get in new equipment and make reviews on it. There's no benefit in me telling you not to buy stuff, but I'll still be the first one to tell you exactly that, and I'll be the first one to tell you while working out at home can be awesome. I get to spend more time with my kids, it's convenient and private, you'll never have to wait on equipment nor work out in someone else's sweat, but it's also not perfect. Now, I love my kids more than anything else, but they can get in the way of my workouts. There are distractions at home. Nobody told me you have to clean this place. Do you know how many spiders are in here? And you'll never match the diversity of equipment you'll find in a commercial space. But by going to one, at least for a little while, you can experiment and see if this might be for you and see what you might want. Mistake number 5 is not buying used. Look, I get it. You see all those shiny things companies send us reviewers, and your American consumerism kicks up to a whole new level. You gotta have it. That's goals, right? Except we don't pay for half this shit, and our spaces are as fake as our online personalities. So ignore all the affiliate links for shilling and go shop used. My first rack was a Rogue R6 loaded up with attachments. It retailed for over $2,000 then, and I got it for under $500. Of course, that was pre-COVID, and with inflations and tariffs, that's like $4 million today, but there's still deals out there. Sure, you gotta talk to those weirdos selling stuff, but you're one of us now. It does take some patience. You have to search those deals out on Marketplace, but doing so gets you a lot more for your money. Also, if you don't like something and resell it, you won't lose as much. I've even made money flipping things. My urethane bumpers started off as a set of rusty weeders I picked up for free. I restored them and then eventually sold them, bought some rep bumpers, and so on until I got the urethanes. I'm not saying it's the easiest way, but it might be the smartest. The next mistake we all make is forgetting the tools. And believe me, the last thing you want to do is build something using the absolutely useless excuses for tools companies include with their equipment. Maybe except Rogue, their stuff is actually pretty good, but still, a good ratchet and set of sockets goes a long way. Or if you want to take it up a level, an impact driver really speeds things up. I technically use an impact wrench I bought to work on my cars when I used to restore and build them, but it's made its way into my gym and keeps me sane by cutting my build times in half. Easily. I love that thing almost as much as my robot vacuum and mop, which may be my favorite piece of equipment in here. You guys see this pretty corner I dress up for the camera, but that used to be the only clean spot in this damn place until the love of my life came along, Mrs. Doubtfire. Every morning I wake up to a clean gym. It gets rid of the mud my grubby kids leave behind, picks up the dog hair, vacuums the turf, and leaves me with a clean space to lay down on and try not to throw up in after leg day. I've collected all kinds of tools that aren't necessarily home gym related over the years that really help me be more efficient and keep this place usable. So let me know if you want to see a video on that type of stuff. Things like my little electric leaf blower. Admittedly, I'd like one a bit more powerful, but my toddler freaking loves that thing, so it's staying. It's great for blowing out dust, cobwebs, and other stuff that manages to find its way in here. Spiders. Another mistake we all make is trying to time things, and I don't just mean with sales. Yes, Black Friday is the best time to buy equipment for your home gym. That's when the biggest and best deals are, and paying less for things means you can get more of it, right? So if you're in a good place, wait for that curl bar. As much as it pains me to say it, there are other ways to work on your arms. If you're building your gym though, you should start when life lets you. Most of you are probably like me. You've got little kids running around and a million things to do. If I waited for the perfect time, it would never happen. You've got to plan, budget, build, and set everything up. And that takes a while for all those things to happen. It doesn't happen overnight. This has taken me years to build. And while it wasn't always perfect, and really it still isn't, it's mine, and I've been able to enjoy having it and benefited from it the entire time, which is worth the world to me. You also don't want to get caught up in mistake number 2, underbuying. I don't like to say buy once, cry once, because that only works if you're sure, right? If you know this is for you, then 3x3 racks with 11 gauge steel and more holes than you'll ever be able to fill are awesome. They'll outlast you. Belt squats are still cool, right? And have I told you how digital weight is going to revolutionize your gym? It's only money. Let your kids deal with your debt when you're gone. Or maybe you don't need all that. Sometimes just lifting heavy circles works really well. If your plates weigh 45 pounds, and sometimes that is a big if, but if they do, your muscles don't really care what they look like. That being said, it is a balancing act. There are some items worth spending a little more on. Specifically, things that are very well designed and that you'll utilize all the time, and ones that are gonna keep you alive. Sacrificing quality to save money can be a dangerous game, especially if you're putting your safety on the line. Because as a wise man once said, it's really hard to work out when you're dead. That wise man was me, by the way. Bringing us to our biggest mistake. In an attempt to instantly contradict myself, it's overbuying, meaning buying things you don't need and won't use, or even thinking price means quality. It can, but not always. If you're an impulsive and indecisive person, you're gonna love having a home gym. There's always something new and shiny coming along, and we've all gotten caught up in the hype. And I'm not just talking about marketing hype and influencers. People on Facebook and other online communities are just as likely to tout their latest purchase as the end all be all. It doesn't matter how great it is or how much potential it has if you don't use it. Rep's utility seat that I'm sitting at right now, I only use it to hold things while I film. And this isn't even on, so it's not even doing that well. Their Blackwing bench is fantastic, but also about 600 pounds, and my wife refuses to touch it. It's overbuilt and clunky, so it just sits in a corner collecting dust. Bigger doesn't always mean better, higher prices don't always result in better quality, and logos don't help you lift or stay in shape. They're corporations. They don't care about you. Now, I don't necessarily mean you can't have bulletproof isolator that's 374 machines in one or whatever it's up to now, nor am I saying that sweet, sweet lever curl bar won't make your arms look huge. It will. That thing's sick. And what's more important than huge arms? Trick question. Obviously nothing. Listen, versatility is king in a home gym where space is always at a premium and variety is huge. If you're not enjoying your workouts and they get stale and old, you won't use your space. But on the flip side, if you're not using it, it really doesn't matter how much it can do. And in the end, it's all about you. You and your training are the only things that matter. But the absolutely biggest home gym mistake you can make, not hitting that subscribe button. I mean, you watched the whole video, right? And I worked really hard on it. So if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much to our Patreons for allowing me to make content like this. I mean it 100% when I say, if not for you, I would have quit making videos a long time ago. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.